Ben Simmons was supposed to be the next LeBron James, a 6'10" guard with vision like Magic Johnson and athleticism like prime Tracy McGrady. He was the #1 overall pick, Rookie of the Year, an All-Star, and for a moment, it looked like the Sixers had found the perfect co-star for Joel Embiid. But now, Ben Simmons is slowly, almost silently, walking away from the game of basketball. He hasn't officially retired, but the energy, the passion, the fire, it looks gone. And what makes this story so shocking is that Simmons isn't just fading as a player, he's become the face of one of the NBA's most important conversations. What happens when talent and pressure collide, and the game becomes too heavy to carry? To understand why Ben Simmons is stepping away, we have to rewind. This is a story about expectations, collapse, and how one player's struggles forced the NBA to finally admit that mental health is just as important as physical health. Because the truth is, Simmons' arc is bigger than one player. It's about how the league, the media, and even fans treat young stars under the microscope. Ben Simmons grew up in Australia, a prodigy before he was even a teenager. By high school, he was already being compared to NBA stars. He dominated at Montverde Academy in Florida, then lit up LSU in his one college season. Scouts drooled over his size, his court vision, his defensive instincts. By the 2016 draft, the hype wasn't just real, it was overwhelming. Philly took him #1 overall, instantly pairing him with another generational talent in Joel Embiid. The trust the process era was finally bearing fruit. In 2018, Simmons won Rookie of the Year. The Sixers looked unstoppable, and Ben seemed poised to be the next great two-way superstar. He was locking down guards, grabbing boards, running the break, and dishing passes that made him look like a 6'10" Jason Kidd. But the cracks were already there. The shooting. Everyone knew it. He didn't take jumpers. He wouldn't take threes. And fans started to whisper, what happens when defenses stop respecting him? At first, it didn't matter. Philly was winning. But pressure doesn't wait forever. It all came crashing down in the 2021 NBA playoffs against the Atlanta Hawks. In Game 7, with Philly's season on the line, Simmons had a wide-open dunk. He passed it. The crowd groaned. His teammates froze. Joel Embiid would later call it the turning point of the game. The Sixers lost. That moment, replayed millions of times on TV and social media, became the scarlet letter of Simmons' career. Philly fans turned. The media piled on. Analysts called him soft, scared, broken. And instead of being protected, Simmons was left to drown. The franchise distanced themselves. Teammates questioned him, and head coach Doc Rivers.
Team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now. So I don't know the answer to that.
Simmons. He never suited up for Philly again. Here's where the story turns from basketball to something bigger. Simmons refused to play the next season, citing mental health struggles. The Sixers fined him millions of dollars, accusing him of faking, of just wanting out. But for the first time, the NBA had to wrestle with a question. What do you do when a player says he's mentally not ready? It was a watershed moment. Guys like Kevin Love and DeMar DeRozan had spoken out about depression and anxiety before, but Simmons' case was different. This wasn't just an interview or a tweet. This was a player sitting out, giving up checks, taking the fines, all because he said his mind wasn't in the right place. The NBA didn't know how to handle it. Some fans showed compassion. Many others mocked him, saying he was weak, soft, stealing money. The noise was relentless. Eventually, Simmons got his wish. Philly traded him to the Brooklyn Nets for James Harden. On paper, it was a fresh start. A chance to get away from Philly, from the booze, from the weight of that Game 7 moment. But even in Brooklyn, things never clicked. Back issues, mental blocks, short stints on the court. When he did play, he looked like a shell of his old self, hesitant, passive, afraid to attack the rim. The confidence was gone, and worse, so was the joy. Simmons went from a cornerstone to an afterthought in just a few years. Brooklyn eventually moved on, and Ben quietly faded into the background of the league. So what happened here? Was Ben Simmons lazy, overhyped, or was he crushed under the weight of impossible expectations? The truth is, his story looks a lot like Larry Sanders, Royce White, even Kawhi Leonard at times. Players whose bodies or minds forced them to step away. And Simmons' case pushed the NBA to start taking mental health more seriously. Teams now employ mental health professionals. Players are given more space to talk about burnout, anxiety, and depression. But Simmons paid the price. He became the poster boy for softness, when in reality, he might have just been one of the first players honest enough to say, "I can't do this right now." Today, Ben Simmons is still technically in the league, but he's a ghost of his former self. The fire that once made him Rookie of the Year looks gone. He still has talent, still has years left in his body, but whether he wants to keep fighting is another story. And that's why people say he's quietly walking away. Because sometimes walking away isn't an announcement, it's just silence. Less minutes, less headlines, less of the player we thought he'd be. Ben Simmons may never live up to the next LeBron hype. He may never even sniff an All-Star game again. But in a strange way, his legacy might be bigger than a trophy or a stat line. His struggles forced the league to confront its culture, to admit that these aren't just athletes, they're people. People who can break under pressure, people who can lose confidence, people who need help. For Simmons, the story isn't over. Maybe he makes a comeback. Maybe he disappears quietly. But what's certain is this: his journey will be remembered as a turning point in how we talk about the human side of the NBA. What do you think? Can Ben Simmons still write a comeback story, or has the NBA already moved on without him? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you found this video eye-opening, and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden stories of the NBA.